y'all. Welcome to the second episode of the football sticker story. First, I want to thank you all for listening to the first one. We've received awesome feedback, which we appreciate. And I said second episode, but Matt, when do we stop counting how many episodes we've done? What's the
I don't
number?
know. I feel like 100 is always like the easy number, but hit that's a lot to count to. I don't know if I can do that. So I feel
So
like 50 maybe. 50
50.
50 is a good number.
Because I feel like welcome to the 99th episode of. Hopefully, we get to 100 episodes, but I feel
That's
like
true.
it'll feel awkward saying the 99th.
Yeah,
I don't
at some point it's like it doesn't really matter.
know.
It really doesn't. So let's set the goal for 50 and see how we do.
All right. And if you all know what the cutoff is, which we obviously don't, please let us know, and we'll stop by that episode. We won't
Yes.
say what episode we're on. But yesterday was an exciting day with PWCC,
Yes.
or it was the day before yesterday. Now
It was Monday, so it was
2 days ago,
2 days
man.
ago. Yeah.
This week has gone by very
Yeah.
quick.
I mean, we're still talking about what happened, so that's how kind of important it is to the hobby.
Well,
So,
the Discord was crazy that night, which is
oh,
always cool because everybody's dissecting it and interpreting what's
yeah.
going on in their own terms. So it's always fun.
Like an hour before, everyone starts sending like the good luck messages, the like, not trying to be like no one wants to say what they're obviously going for, but everyone's kind of like, oh, good luck, like, and then everyone's like, oh, we'll see if I get it, but
And then
obviously,
it's the calm before the storm, like 10
yeah,
minutes before. Then it's the 5 minute countdown. Everybody's excited, and
yeah,
then as
and
soon
then
as that
yeah,
first purchase happens, it's
yeah,
like, oh, this is what I got.
yeah, or you like once you hit like the 1958 like part, since it's all chronological, that's when you start getting people posting like, oh, this Pele went for this amount, like, did you see that? And then and then you take a little break, and it's like the Maradona or Cruyff stuff, and then you take a little break, and it's like you have some random '90s like Thierry Henry, Beckham, whoever, like, and then you have a little break till Messi, and it's like hitting all these like popular years, and then yeah, at the end, everyone's kind of like either I was second place and everything, or they're like, dude, I got the card I've always wanted. So it's interesting. Like someone the other night, they were saying, yeah, I've got the card that I really wanted. They got a Pele PSA 2 Aquarella. Um, and so it's like super exciting. It can be super exciting. It can be devastating, but it's always a good time.
Yeah, man. And you said chronological order. I guess we'll start with you then and what you picked up because you tend to. I know some of the stuff you got is a little bit older. I only made one purchase. It's somewhat modern.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk about some of the purchases you made?
Yeah. I'll start with, I'm going to go reverse chronological just because why not? Let's mix it up.
They don't ship fast enough for us to have the cards already, but
That's
we could
true.
talk about it.
That's true. And I'll admit I haven't paid yet because I still am like,
You're one of those, Matt. You're one of
I
those.
I am, because I have to process. I said this in the Discord. I was like, dude, I got to process how much money I just spent because this was stupid. So let's start in 2008. I got a Lewandowski rookie because I was really upset that I missed the boat on this legend, the Polish legend, but I had to get one. So it's a PSA 9 of his rookie, and it's the full shot of him on the field. So that was definitely by far the biggest pickup I had. I mean, his PSA 10s were a lot more expensive, and there's a good reason. Not many more 10s are going to enter the population report anytime soon. So it makes sense, but
Now that was interesting because he has that portrait rookie as well. Is there
yeah.
do you have a preference to one or the other? Is it because that was the one that was available, or
I just really like the full shot. I think it's an interesting shot of him. And I noticed that the portrait actually went for less. I think there was a couple PSA 9s of that, and I don't know exactly why. I think people just like the action shot of him. Just the good part is, although it is an action shot, it is a specific sticker for him. It's only him in the picture. So unlike like a Pele rookie where you have Pele and 5 other people, this is just him. So I think people really like that, and I don't know. I just really gravitated towards it compared to the portrait. But eventually, I would like to get the portrait as well. But yeah, so then we're gonna go to 2006. I picked up Marcelo, his rookie from Panini Campeonato in Brazil, and that was when he was with Fluminense, I believe. So obviously, his career has changed a lot since then. Doesn't start every game for Madrid now, but I mean, Marcelo is just an absolute legend. He's one of the best defenders of all time. I mean, I don't think you can even question that. And so I ended up paying $110, which, I'm not gonna lie, was probably overpaying. But when you want something, and it's PWCC, you go for it. So that was that. And then let's see, 2003, and I'm gonna say I bought a lot more modern than I usually do for PWCC. Like when I see that stuff, I usually try to get good vintage. But there was some really nice like modern slash like newer vintage with soccer. It's kind of weird, like where the year cutoff is. Like baseball and basketball, it's a lot more obvious. But I got a 2003 Kaká that they labeled as a rookie when it's definitely not. And if you actually want to see a rookie of Kaká, that's Danny Alves. Here we go. Got the Kaká 2002 Panini Campeonato, which is the official Panini release that they have every year for Serie A in Brazil. This is his official sticker, and he actually has one in 2003 in Panini Campeonato. So the one I bought is actually his third Panini sticker, because this one is when he was on AC Milan. So, but they labeled it as a rookie. I'm not gonna go too far into that, but I guess you could make the claim that it's the first Panini Calciatore. I don't know. Either way, Kaká is like a generational midfielder. Like a lot of Brazilians, he was insanely talented, and although he didn't, you know, have a super long career at like the highest level, those years where he did have his like best time was just incredible. He won the Ballon d'Or, Champions League, all the crazy stuff uh, that you really want to aim for to have your career be one of the best. So picked up the Kaká. It was $78, PSA 5. I don't know. I just liked it. I was like, $78. I can do that. So my favorite pickup though from the whole thing was a 1966 Panini Campioni dello Sport of Garincha, who is, I would say Garincha and Zico are tied for my two favorite players to collect. And I actually picked up this Garincha 1957. I'm going to say 1957 in air quotes because there is a Pele from this series, and there's one on eBay. There's only like one known that I've seen, but from the Oliveira and Benassi album. So it would be Pele's like true rookie, but it's really I've tried to do a lot of research to like understand the actual year that these came out, and it's so difficult to understand. But I got this in from Brazil this week. It's the Garincha sticker from that set, and it has a nice back. Like although it was taken out of an album, you can still read everything on it. And I'm sorry for the glare, but it's a really nice sticker.
I like
And
the color on it. I think
yeah,
it's held
it's
up nice
beautiful.
for such an old sticker.
Yeah, and I also have the one of Nilton Santos from that. And yeah, the yellow is just like it really pops. I really like the layout of the actual sticker. So uh, I picked. Like I was saying, I love Garincha as a collecting as one of my collections. Him and Zico, like I don't know, I really just have enjoyed studying about them, researching them, and finding sticker. Like one of the things I really like about them is that there's still stickers of them that I have never seen anyone outside of Brazil talk about or like know about. And so I still love like, finding new Zico stickers, finding new Grincha stickers. And when I say new, obviously, they exist because I'm buying them, but new in the fact that
They're not mainstream yet.
exactly, they're not mainstream. If you get on the internet, they're really hard to find. So I really like that about them is that one, they're two of the top 10 players in my opinion all time. A lot of people would are definitely going to disagree with that statement, but all good. But like I said, I just think there's a lot of good things about collecting them. And the second thing is that obviously Pele is the best player of all time, in my opinion. Pele stickers are expensive. They're just flat out expensive. Like the 1964 and this PWCC went for like I think $6,500 for like his first panini, which I don't know why is a thing. Like,
I will say, as an owner of a 1964 PSA 7, it made me happy to see it go that
oh, okay,
high.
okay,
But I got
there you
it.
go.
I got it when I think the market was right on, like right before it really hit that, like the
Mm,
4K 2014 Messi point.
yeah.
Um, so it just, and I saw it right as it got posted. So it
Mm-hmm.
lasted about 5 minutes between the time I made an offer, they made a counter offer, and everything was accepted. So
That's
I'm
how it
happy
goes.
with the purchase.
That's awesome. And no, don't get me wrong. It is a beautiful looking sticker, and like I would be more than happy to have one in my collection. But I was just like, I was blown away by the price that someone paid to have that, and it was a PSA 9, so it that is nice. But
Well, I didn't buy into it because of the first Panini, though I did know that was an argument when I first saw it. But I bought into it because of as a photo person myself, as a photographer, I really like the image on it and the color and the
mm,
expression. So that was something that attracted me to the sticker itself.
for sure,
But
yeah. And that the 1966 Grinch that I bought, that is one of the reasons I really liked it too. Was the photo is really nice. It's like a pretty clear photo of Garincha, which I found to be kind of hard to get on his stickers. Like the one I was showing, like to me, that doesn't really look like the Grincha. Like in the videos I've seen of him being interviewed and stuff like that, like he was a very rugged looking man. Like he was an alcoholic. He still played at the highest level, but like he was an alcoholic. He drank his whole career. So like a lot of these stickers kind of like make these guys look, you know,
more
better than the.
heroic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Stoic.
yeah, exactly. They want to hype him up and all that. But I really like the shot on that, and it is a PSA 9, which I do say buy the sticker, not the grade, but it does make it nice. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. Buying on PWCC is like one, you're getting a good sticker, like it's authentic most of the time, um, and two, if it's a PSA 8 or 9 or 10 on vintage, like it's at least going to be pretty dang good quality. And I buy a lot from Brazil, and it's really, really, really hard to, by the time stuff gets to me, have stuff be the quality of a PSA 8, 9, 10 for stuff from the 1960s and before. So I just thought it was really interesting. It looked really nice, and like I said, Grinch is one of my favorite players to collect. So I did buy one last card, and that was the Grinch 1963 Imperia Calciatori, and it was $50. I think I overpaid on this, but being a collector of Garincha, I almost never buy Garincha Brazilian published things from eBay because I can usually find them in Brazil. But stuff that's produced in Italy is specifically, like I do have to go to PWCC to get. So that's kind of what I like. I really like to look forward to PWCC is because I can pick up those players for stuff like Zico and Garincha, stuff that isn't produced in Brazil. So that's my 5 card roundup for PWCC. It's actually been a few months. Like last year, I like every PWCC auction I was in. Like I would buy at least like 2 or 3 things. But once the soccer market like popped off, I don't know. I just stopped buying from PWCC because it was getting crazy,
And
absolutely ridiculous.
I think in this one it was probably a little easier to find a deal because of the just the vast amount of
Hmm.
product that there was. But from looking at previous ones, there are some auctions where I saw cards I would be interested in, but I wouldn't necessarily buy into it because I knew that after that auction, I there's a big chance that I would find it cheaper elsewhere on eBay. So, but this one was I think a lot easier to find a deal on,
Mhm.
and my list isn't as extensive because I had made one big purchase before PWCC, but I was looking at the Ronaldo rookies,
Mhm.
Cristiano Ronaldo rookies, but I ended up missing out on those, and then it was like one of those last second things. I was going down the list of what is still available. Saw the
Yep.
matchups card, the Messi 2014 Messi Ronaldo matchups card. I'm trying not to buy base, not anything wrong with base, but I have seen that when the market
Mhm.
started fluctuating, the things that kept their price was some of the parallels. So
Yep.
I saw it was a yellow pulsar parallel of the matchups card, BGS 9. So I
Mhm.
decided to buy that, and I'm happy because it was a card I wanted. I think we had this conversation after the auction. It was a card I wanted. I wasn't in a rush to get, but when I saw it was at a decent price for what it had been
Mhm.
selling, I decided to buy it. But I'm
Yeah.
happy now. I don't need to buy another one. I don't think. I'm happy with the one I have. So finally crossed that off the list. And I think one of the reasons that I was attracted to that card, and it's been talked about in the Discord so much, is that you have arguably the two best players of our generation on the same card,
Yep.
and it's Prism.
Yeah.
Not that that matters, but I think that you have two of the greatest players on the same card, and I don't know if we'll see it again, at least on a notable card like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can only think of, like, one other one. Well, I'm not gonna count Leaf. Like, although Leaf is an official company, they are unlicensed, and they have some crazy combinations of autographed cards. Like, I saw one that was so ridiculous. It was, like, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, Pele, Maradona, and then, like, Wayne Rooney on it, and I was like, how does someone at Leaf think, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna put, like, 4 of the top 5 potentially best players ever, and then put Rooney on it." Like, Rooney was an amazing player, but, like, come on. Like, that is not even close to who should be on that card with him. But, no, you're right. Like, I think there's, like, a Tops Now shot of the 2 of them,
Yeah,
but
the award one
yeah,
at the yeah, that's a
exactly.
nice card too.
It is, but I'm not a big fan of Tops Now. Like, I someone made a really good point to me, which was, like, in the UK and Europe, it's so hard to get product because it releases in the US mostly. So stuff like Tops Now is just like the easiest way for people in Europe to get like realistically priced items. So that resonated with me. I was like, that's a pretty good point. But me personally, I had the Fati Tops Now. I sold it. Wish I kind of kept it, but I still made a good chunk on it. I think I paid like $40. No, I paid $30 last August or September. Graded it, got a PSA 9, sold it for like 250. It's definitely worth more now. I'll say that.
A
Everything
lot
is
more.
worth more now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I a lot of people like the Holland Tops Now because it's like I think at 173 or something. I don't know. I just it's not my style. I prefer pack pulled stuff so much more to Tops Now
Well, I think
personally.
print runs. I think somebody made the point in the Discord too that print runs back then are thing of the past.
Mhm.
And now the print runs are going to be so much larger. But I will say,
Yeah.
going on the Tops Now topic, that as a Formula One fan, we're not getting a Tops Chrome set or anything else till January. So
Mhm.
I've been enjoying the Tops Now, at
Yeah.
least in Formula One. I haven't bought into the soccer stuff, but it does offer a different opportunity, I think, to collect. And depending on what your ultimate goal is, it allows for both investing and collecting.
Yeah.
I think right now it's mostly collecting, but you never know.
Well, and that does like also make a good point. Is Topps Chrome Champs League has been delayed like 17 different times. It was supposed to release last May, and here we are, and there's still no Topps Chrome Champions League. At this point, I'm saying just make one super set for like the last 2 seasons. But yeah, so I think that has helped Topps Now is that a lot of these players still don't have that Topps Chrome UCL rookie. Like Howland does have
Finest.
he has the finest and the Bundesliga Chrome, but the Bundesliga Chrome never holds the value compared to the Champions League. And like Fati's Chrome is still on the way. a lot of really really good players. So I don't know. I can see why people like the tops now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Um, I think we're on to our next segment, which is the questions part. So you posted on Instagram to the people that had listened or people that were just interested in some of the stuff we would talk about, and we
Mhm.
had three pretty good questions, or two pretty good questions. One should count as three or four questions because
Sure.
it's multi part. But the first one is from Bone Sport, Bone or Bone. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Sports Cards on Instagram, and the question is, Matt, based on your experience, how do you determine if a sticker is trimmed? And I guess that's tougher as we go back, right, to the older
It
stuff that we
is.
don't know what it looks like.
Exactly, and that's kind of one of the points I was going to make is in my experience, I don't think I've ever dealt with trimmed cards. When I'm buying from Brazilian sellers, 99% of them don't know what PSA is. They don't know what BGS is. They don't know what SGC is. They have zero reason to trim a card or a sticker. Like, to them, when I'm buying things, they'll offer me things taken out of an album, and to them that's just like kind of normal how they trade things. And I kind of have to explain to them the whole process of it's so weird trying to explain grading to people outside of the USA that aren't familiar with it, because they're like, why the hell would you even put it in this like random plastic case? I don't know either. But uh, to go back to that, is it's really hard. It's not something that's easy. A lot of old vintage things were misprinted. They were not centered, so you're gonna have the same sticker, and it's gonna look very different. And that also brings up another thing, which is I think I have one sitting next to me, but you have a lot of hand cut items from vintage. So like the Pele record journal from Sweden from 1958. Um, you can see right here it says HC, which means hand cut. So a lot of things were meant like you had to actually hand cut them and then glue them or stick them into an album. So it gets very. I see a lot of PSA things getting graded as authentic for things that are hand cut, because it's difficult. Like it's not easy to tell, and people mess up when they're cutting. But I think what you said at the beginning kind of sums it all up, which is because a lot of people don't know how things look, how they're supposed to look. When I find something new, I have to base it off pictures I do doing research, and literally half of the stickers from the same set look different. Like half of them like are a few centimeters off, cut differently. So there's no easy way to tell. There really is no good way to tell. Now, when you get to more modern stuff, 1990s, 2000s, things that are more documented, if you go to blowout forums, you can find whole threads on people who trim stuff. But that's easier because it's already been documented, it's already been graded. People buy these graded cards, take them out of the holder, trim them, and then regrade them, which is stupid because people are really smart and they can look up the old images, and if they find like a blemish, say like, oh, I have this like Ronaldo '04, and they'll have like a mark somewhere on it, and people will be able to find a sticker that's been upgraded, maybe like 1 or 2 points at PSA. They can say, oh well, look, like this old sticker had this mark here, why does this new one have the same exact mark out of nowhere? And all of a sudden it's like a high grade sticker coming out of nowhere. So the short answer is it's so hard to tell. It's almost impossible, I would say, for vintage stickers is to tell if something is trimmed.
Yeah, and
So
I think the conclusion here is you just got to do your research, and that goes, I think, not only to know if a sticker is trimmed, but
hmm
also to know that sticker is not a custom, if it's
yeah,
actually part of a real issue, if it's something
exactly.
legit. And I
If
think
it's a rookie, that's another big one as well. So
if it's a rookie, and in the Discord, we've been having that. I think, conversation a lot more, whether things are
Mhm.
custom, whether uh, we don't get to have that conversation of trimmed a lot,
Mhm.
but we do get the, is this a real sticker? Is this
Yeah.
team issued? Is this printed from somebody's basement?
Yeah. And
um,
there's a lot of proof for some of the famous ones are the UK Traditions 2004 Messi. You know, almost impossible to find who the hell UK Traditions is, and somehow they have this '04 Messi that has like a great gem mint rate, stuff like that.
with an
You want to
image
do your
from
research
2006.
with a picture from Messi's first international goal, which was in 2006. Or there was a guy who posted a Ronaldinho 1998, which would be a whole new discovery in the Ronaldinho category. And the guy posted it, and he's like, "Oh, I won this for 300 euros," and I was like, I'm gonna do some research real quick because if this is real, like one, I need one because Ronaldinho is number three on my collecting. So I was like, I'm gonna look this up, and there was this random company. It was like C27 or something, C27S. I was like, all right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is like Google what the hell this company is. Nothing comes up, so I'm like, okay, how does a publishing company that has licensing to sports teams not have like a website? Okay, that's kind of weird. Go to Facebook, literally type in C27. It's like some guy's page, and it literally on like one of his like profile pictures, it's like, oh, C20. It was in Spanish, and it was like C27 like Deste 2009. So like since 2009, this company has been printing stuff, and I was like, okay, so a company born in 2009 that only has a Facebook page that's some guy, random guy's like actual profile. Like he has his picture is one of the profile pictures. How is this a 1998 issue of a player that like is not? I think he was a Spanish guy. So this guy in Spain is printing 1998 Ronaldinho cards. Like, all right, like I said something, and people obviously when they spend a lot of money and finds out stuff like that, like it's a shock. But I think it's important because I've seen there's a lot of fakes in Brazil. There are a lot of fakes, and people try to pass crap all the time. I think Neymar is one specifically where people need to be very careful about some of his earlier stuff on what they're buying. But that's where that research comes in. Is like, okay, if you're going to drop 300 euros on something, like in my opinion, I think your opinion as well is you got to do that research, and it can be hard. Like it's not just like a lot of these things aren't just like here's the answer, but if you want to be part of the collecting of soccer stickers and cards, and you want to have something high profile like a new Ronaldinho rookie, like you need to be able to prove what it is.
Yeah, I think people
So
just get excited when they see something that hasn't been talked about before, something they
yeah,
believe is a new sticker or card. They pull the trigger and it turns out not to be. So going to back to the original point, it's so important to do your research and
yeah,
figure out, you could find it on eBay, that's fine, but see what that is. It took you was 5-10 minutes to figure out it was a custom, and then
yeah,
you avoid having to go through all the hassle of returning it or whatever the
yeah.
process may look like from there on. But continuing on the theme of vintage soccer, our second question, our multi-parted second question from Kyle underscore collects on Instagram. He wants to know, vintage soccer seems to be largely regional issues with lots of
hmm
different releases by varied companies. How do you determine what will be player's rookie card with these different issues? That's the first part.
hmm
And then, is it possible that some of these smaller regional sets should be considered X rookie cards like early star sets, while you need a nationally/internationally distributed set to be considered a true rookie card like the Fleer 86 in the Jordan set?
hmm It's a really good question, and it's difficult. It really comes down to a lot of things, and I'm trying to think of a good player that's an example. Let's go with Eusebio. So Eusebio has a few 1961 stickers. None of them are, huge companies like Panini, but he does have proven stickers from 1961. So that is his rookie by the terms of like American collecting. That is his first sticker, the first thing he features in by himself. So then you have what people claim is his rookie in 1963 because it's the first Panini. Okay, and then what people do is they say, okay, well, if the Panini 1963 is a rookie, then like anything else from 1963 is a rookie. It really comes down to what you believe. Like it's
I'll stop you right there and ask, is it really what you believe or is it what the market decides to believe?
see, but people say that, and to me, the market does not decide. The market decides what it likes. The market likes the Mbappe 18 Prism, but it's not his first card. It's his first Prism. Like you can claim it's his first Prism, but it's not his first card. It's not even close to his first card. He has multiple cards before that. Has this obviously the sticker 2 years before that. To me, that is not the market deciding what the rookie is because each person can decide what their criteria is. Like I consider his rookie card to be the Topps Chrome, but a lot of people consider his rookie card to be his first Prism.
But there's
So
also in the Mbappe case, there's also the select, the field
mhm,
level, and
there's
the
Topps Finest. There's multiple issues for that year, but still,
it's a
people's
16 sticker.
yep. It's exactly to me and what the market considers as rookie is that 2016 sticker. But when I get on eBay and I look at listings, if I type in Mbappe rookie card, I guarantee half it's Prism. So I don't. I do not think the market decides. I think the market decides what it likes and what it wants to like. I don't think the market is always correct per se, because if you want to get super technical on things, you have match attacks, and everyone hates match attacks and adrenaline. But a lot of players, like their first sticker or first appearance is usually like a match attacks. Like Martinelli was in like the match attacks or 2019. But as someone who is definitely going to be buying some Martinelli stuff, I don't want that shit. That's like a kid's game to me, and I don't want these stats like I'm playing FIFA. Like I want a traditional sticker or card, but it's it's really difficult, and I really like this question because I think if I'm trying to think of another really good example, but if let's go with Messi. There's a bunch of stuff from 2004, and I say, if I go to 10 people in the soccer community and say, what is the true Messi rookie? I think I'll get 10 different answers. Like, obviously, a lot of people are going to, not a lot, but people are going to say Mega Crack 71 because that's like the most expensive card. But was that the first one released? I don't believe it was. I believe a lot of the other things were released before that. So it's really comes down to what the person who is buying thinks. Like, I don't know. It's difficult. It really is difficult, and a lot of the times you do have that, especially with vintage. Really, 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 especially with vintage. There's a lot of stuff where this whole first Panini thing comes up, and I really, really hate that term because why are we celebrating the fact that like some billion-dollar company is like it's their first sticker? Like that's just like why are people sucking up to some brand? Like that's just so weird to me that oh it's Panini, the first Panini, like okay, like who gives a shit? Like it does not matter in the slightest to me.
So if you're gonna buy into, let's say your favorite player is Garincha,
Mm-hmm.
is how do you determine which one you're gonna buy as his rookie? Is it
Mm-hmm.
based off the research you have up to that point, or that is widely available to the community up to that point until something else is found?
Yeah.
We're talking about the Italy versus Brazil debate. Is that something to go? I think part of the question goes into that regional aspect of it, where
Mm-hmm.
for a long time it was just these two big, where you could get for Brazilian players from these different countries.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think you have to also think like you have unlicensed stuff. Like so you're gonna in Brazil like during the 70s and 80s you're gonna have a ton of unlicensed but like official like albums that were released uh by companies, but it wasn't licensed like they might not have their jersey or their kit on, but it is licensed. Like a company is producing it, and it's not some guy in his basement. But a lot of people are going to say, no, I want a Panini. Like I want it to be an official company. Or like Zico has like a ping pong card, which is like a legitimate company. Uh, but once again, it really comes down to the person and what they believe in. I minus adrenaline and match tax. That's the one criteria I'm going to add. Is that I always go for the first. So publicly, I believe like Grincha, the first sticker is 1955. Idolo's the Fuchi ball, and that's like the widely accepted rookie. But then you have scenarios where um, people find people do find newer stickers, and I'm doing a lot of research right now. Like I do an hour or two of research every night for Brazilian players, and I'm trying to find more on because I think there's a lot of stuff out there still that hasn't been found and like could change things. But I use rookie if I know it's the widespread knowing of rookie, because one, I don't want to spread misinformation, because I try to find things where I do believe it's earlier than what's known as the current rookie, but it's super hard to verify. Most of these companies don't exist anymore. Um, a lot of like the knowledgeable Brazilian collectors either don't use like the internet like to talk about stickers, like they just have these
Right.
insane collections, but they don't. There's no way to get to them. Uh, and so it's so hard to know the year. You just have to do so much research, and it's time consuming. And you don't want to come out and say, "Hey, I found this new Socrates rookie," but people start to look at it and they're like, "We're looking at the team list, and this actually doesn't look like you know Socrates' first sticker." It's really difficult, and I always I if I'm listing something, for example, on eBay, I'm always going to use um, the the widely known first. So, for example, the today actually I listed some Neymar 2010 Panini Brazil Campeonato Brasileiros that I just had extra, and for example, PWCC lists him as rookie, and to me, it is definitely not a rookie. It's first Panini. It's like his first official. Actually, the thing is, it's not even his first officially licensed, so it makes me even more like ticked off. But it's his first Panini. But for example, a Brio Goal has a card from 2009, 2010. So it's officially like the '09 label on the if you're gonna get it graded. So
And is that the company?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Um, Editora Abril. So what I did is I do not list rookie in it. I say first Panini. I do put first Panini in the listing, but to me that is true. It is his first Panini, but I will not put rookie because I think that's BS. Um, but people widely like to use the term rookie, but that's what we come back down to where like you got to do your research. Like if you're gonna buy something, especially spending a good amount of money on it, like you should really look. I'd say always the first thing someone should do is go to PSA.com or whatever, go to Pop Reports, go to Player Search, type in the player's name, and look at what the first year that shows up. That should be the first step, in my opinion. You'll easily see stuff because someone was saying in the Discord chat, I bought this 1958 Garincha rookie, and I was like, whoa, 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 no, I don't care what way. Like I don't like. There's no way you can even claim anything from 1958 as Garincha's rookie. Like it's not his first Panini because Panini wasn't a company yet. Um, it's not his first or like you could make a bold claim it's like his first Aquarella because there's multiple Aquarellas, but don't give me that. That's like someone just trying to BS their way uh, through anything. But that's why you have to do your research. If someone went and typed in Garincha on PSA's Pops, they could easily see that there's a lot graded from 1950. Not a lot, but there are multiple graded from 1955. So that's the first thing I'd recommend. Second is then go to pwcc.com, go to market research, and you can look at every auction or listing for the last like 15 years. So like if you type in Zico, like you'll find that there are stickers from 1976. And although yes, they're pop ones for each. There's two of them. They're pop ones. Um, they do exist. Like you can go look at the listing and how much it's sold for. But I guarantee, like the next time I see a Zico from 1977, you know what's gonna say? It's gonna say fucking rookie in it because people don't know. Like these have not sold since 2018, so people just don't know. And you know, a lot of people get on PWCC that aren't collectors like we are, and like they just like they're less knowledgeable. They're gonna take what's said because PWC is a big company. It's a large consignment company, and they're gonna accept that. But you know, I think those two steps are at least a good step in the right direction.
So you're telling me if I ever decide to sell my 1964 Pele, I can't put 1964 Panini rookie Pele.
Can you? Yeah, of course you can. You can do
It
whatever the hell you want.
might bring me more money, Matt. It might bring me more
It
money.
100% will. But would I do it
It's not
personally?
fair.
No. But
It's
to
not fair.
me, it doesn't make sense. And
No, I agree. I'm just joking.
no, I know you wouldn't do that at all. But you know, just to go back to that 1958 Garincha, you know, if you just typed in Garincha, looked it up, like I said, you would see that there's multiple 1955s. Or if you just typed in, you know, another tip is look up how to say sticker in the language of the player that you're trying to buy a sticker from. So, like Brazil, you'd look up sticker and it's going to give you figurina. Type in Garincha, figurina, and guess what? You're going to find a bunch of results with pictures. Click on images. You're going to see a bunch of wild stuff, and you're going to be like, oh, like that looks older. Click on it, and it's going to bring you to a link, and it could say, oh, 1956. And you're like, oh, well, that's definitely before 1958. So,
Or gromos in Spanish, right?
cromos, yep. I think figuritas also in Spanish.
Okay.
From some like from I rarely look on Spanish like sites or talk to people in Spanish, but I believe I've used figuritas a couple times. But cromos is definitely the more
Widely
common.
used term.
Yeah, and cromos does also exist in Brazil, but only when talking about cards specifically.
All right, Matt. So we've gone a little bit, I think, longer than we expected on this first section. But before we jump into Brazil history,
Yeah,
the Brazil history lesson that we'll try to give in a short amount of time as possible, do you want to talk about Champions League?
let's do a little quick rundown.
All right,
Doesn't
I
hurt.
have nothing to say because Juventus lost. Ronaldo didn't play. We didn't get the Messi Ronaldo matchup that we were all looking for. COVID
Yeah,
has done a lot of bad things. This is obviously not as bad as some of the things it's done, but it's still part of what's still it's how it's still affecting us.
yeah,
And I'm surprised by Real Madrid playing so poorly. They
yeah,
almost, I think, almost got knocked out of the group stage had they not at least tied it. And PSG, Neymar hurt again.
yeah.
I'm just running through all the things that I could think of because I didn't even get to watch a lot of them. I think Joao
Hmm.
Investors, he looked good.
Had a brace.
Um, had a brace, almost had a hatch. He almost had a beautiful
He almost
bicycle.
did. Yeah.
Um, and that's all I have, man. I'm
Yeah,
I'm just disappointed this week with all the different storylines, but
I know. I know. There was a lot that went on. You know, Barcelona's board is gone. Um, the video of Benzema talking about Vinicius in front of Vinicius.
yeah. Mm.
You know, it was definitely a crazy week, and I think you know it's what Wednesday. Like you know, we're not even it's not even over yet. So I think there could be some more going on, but it was still you know can't complain about getting Champions League football. So
Yeah, well, Arsenal plays tomorrow.
yeah, they play tomorrow. It's good old Europa League,
I
but
shouldn't have brought it up.
it it is what it is. I just have to accept it at this point. I've accepted it for the last like 3 years. So
Well, hopefully Arteta is able to continue to turn things around.
he finally said he's gonna put Abba back into the center forward position, which is what we've been asking for because he's been playing on the wing and it's just he's had a horrible year this year. So we'll see. And Martinelli's back in training, so he's my favorite Brazilian wonder kid at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, best of luck to your squad. Um,
Of course.
and I guess that's it for Champions League because there's already, I mean, so much talk is gonna happen
Yeah.
regardless. So let's get to what we're here for and what I think listeners are here for, which is
Hmm.
our Brazil segment. I just want to clarify that this is part one of two. We're
Hmm.
gonna go over the history today as quick as
Yep.
we can. Some of the early stickers and just the overall history of O Jogo Bonito
Hmm.
in Brazil. And in the second part of this episode, we'll go over some of the more iconic stickers and cards in detail. Matt will show off his entire collection to us. Nah, I didn't. He might not. Let's see
Someday. Someday.
someday. But he will. He's very knowledgeable in all the different important Brazilian stickers. So we'll do that in part two. But I think it's important to set it up. It's important to go over the history. It's important to know why these players and their stickers are so iconic in the
Yep.
first place. So, Matt, where do we start? I watched the video you sent me. I think we start with Charles Miller. Is that the guy? Is that the guy
That
we're
is the
talking about
guy.
first?
That is the guy.
See,
Yeah.
I did my
So,
homework, Matt.
hey,
I did my
I'm
homework.
glad. Hey,
Charles Miller. That's all I
Charles
learned.
Miller. That is the guy that historians have, like decided on as the guy who brought soccer to the Brazilians. So, in the late 1800s, the train is a big thing, and Brazil wants to get trains. So people come over from Europe. A lot of Englishmen come over, and one of these guys' sons, Charles Miller, goes to school in I think it's Southampton.
It is
Uh,
Southampton. And I was going to say, for any Southampton fans, we actually have almost more England listeners than American
I
listeners.
know, I love
So,
it.
for any Southampton fans, your guy, Charles Miller, is recognized as a person that took it to Brazil, took soccer to Brazil.
Yeah, he. So this kid's son goes to study at Southampton. He comes back, and after falling in love with soccer while he's back at school, he comes back with three things, and that is two soccer balls and a rule book for what soccer is. So he starts teaching people a lot. And at this point, it's only the elite of Brazil. So this is white, rich families do this as a pastime. So he teaches people, and people fall in love. Like it's like an instant love for the sport. So as much as I want to believe, and a lot of Brazilians want to believe, like soccer was not born in Brazil, although they're the best at it, it was not officially made there. But so over time, clubs are formed and teams start playing. There's like regional tournaments. You have like the Rio tournament, the Sao Paulo tournament, and a lot of unfortunately, Brazil's history features a lot of slavery. They brought in the most slave. So Bryan and I both studied. We mentioned this first episode. We both studied first semester in Brazil. So we did all the good Brazilian history classes, and like everyone characterizes Brazilians as like super happy and um, listening to this music, like dancing and the beach and all these amazing things, which is true. Like Brazil is an amazing, amazing country, but it does have some history that is, not the best. And what with that was that slavery. They brought in the most slaves out of any country, um, and the descendants. I think they abolished slavery in like or excuse me,
I want to say
1888.
I want to say 88, 89.
88. So
It was one of the last countries in the world to,
yeah,
or if not
I
the
think it
last.
was. I think it was the last, and so obviously you don't go from the day that slavery is abolished to people just you know joining together in song and living like normally. So there still was that tension and discrimination. So the sport for
There
10,
still is, man. There still
there
is.
still is, and it's really bad. It still exists to this day, especially in the Northeast, which is where a lot of those slaves were brought in, Salvador, Recife. But uh, so for 15, 20 years, the sport is primarily played by white immigrants who form these clubs. But some of the black Brazilians are watching from outside of the fence, or outside of where these people are playing, they're saying like, "Wow, like this looks awesome," and so they start to play between their community, and eventually, I think it was Getulio Vargas was the president in the 1930s, and he kind of instituted like a we're one as Brazilians, like we're all the same people, like despite our skin color, like we're all still Brazilians, and he integrated the Brazilian national team, because he wanted to send the best players to go play in the World Cup, which started in 1930, and therefore he sent black Brazilians because he didn't care. He wanted who was actually the best at playing. So then you start having that integration. You have the World Cup. The World Cup comes around. Brazil was not in the final until 1950. And what happened in 1950 was
Feito, corre Guidia, aproxima-se do gol do Brasil e atira! Gol! Gol do Uruguai, Guidia! Segundo gol do Uruguai! 2-1 ganha o Uruguai!
was a huge upset. So Brazil was playing at home in the Maracanã in front of 199,000 people. Which, did you ever go to Rio?
I did go to Rio. I didn't get to go inside Maracanã, but I
Mm.
did see it from the outside in one of our tours.
Yeah, and I did one of the tours of the inside, and I mean, it's ridiculous. Like like you go there, and with the tour, you're allowed to like go on the field, and they have like a goal you can shoot on, and like you're standing there, and you're just like,
Did
holy
you
shit.
score?
After like 17 shots, yeah. So
Was it from the
uh,
penalty spot?
a little closer. No,
Oh
I'm
man.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
man.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
We did do penalties. That was like that was our thing. But you're standing there. You're just like the amount of history that this place has is incredible. Like you're just standing there, like how many. This was after the 2014 World Cup, so Brazil had played back there again. But to go back to 1950, the Brazil team was considered the best team. They're playing Uruguay in the final at home. You know, the day before the actual final, they were saying like, like Brazil won the World Cup. Like they were so confident that Brazil had won the World Cup, and they lost 2-1 the following day. And this became like the national tragedy. Like it was insane. Like the 7-1 is nothing compared to what this was. Like this is talked about as like bigger a lot of times than like the 1958 World Cup win, because it was
well,
just such a defining moment.
and to put it into context, I think if you go to the museum of in Sao Paulo, the
Yeah.
museum of football, they had, I don't know if they had it when you're studying there, but in 2017 they had an exhibition where you could go into this like dark cinematic room, and it was just a
Hmm.
giant screen, and they had like the stereo sound, so you could hear from all
Mm,
sides, just like when that second goal goes in, like it's the sound of like just
yeah.
disappointment. It was crazy, and they have a whole exhibition dedicated to that time. And one of the things my professor at the time said was, going back to the discussion around race, was that they had a black goalkeeper
Barbosa.
right at the end for the rest of his life.
Oh.
He was like he was the guy to fault, and they haven't had a black goalkeeper since. It became a thing where it was, no
Mhm.
more black goalkeepers, because
Yeah.
that day supposedly it was his fault. Which,
Yep.
depending on how you see the goal, it what yes, but as we all
It's a
know,
team game.
right,
Uh,
and the game isn't decided by the goalkeeper
Yeah.
necessarily. So it's just, interesting. And again, to put into context, it had just been 50 years since about 50 years since slavery had ended in
Mhm.
Brazil. So you put all these different things, and you can't separate one from the other, which is very unfortunate.
A lot of these players that were part of that team either left the team, died, like like ashamed. I was reading a book about the history of Brazilian football. And some of these players, like, they pretty much refused interviews afterwards because the only thing that's brought up was the 1950 World Cup. The only people they ever talked to were their teammates because they obviously experienced the same thing. And so a lot of these players essentially lived in shame. They got rid of the kits that they used to use after 1950. They had a white kit was their main kit. That was tarnished. They said, nope, we're done with that. Barbosa was not allowed to go into the locker room in any of the like World Cups after because they thought he brought bad luck. I mean, it was literally, people were like crying in the streets. It was a national tragedy. People had already started celebrating like they won the day before, and then they lost at home in front of 200,000 people in like this devastating last minute winner to Gigia. And so obviously that was kind of a pivotal moment in the transition um, to a lot of players growing up. And so obviously 1958 comes around, and this guy named Pele, 17-year-old, is part of the team. And you have other legends: Garrincha, Vava, Didi, Gilmar, Nilton Santos, Jaume Santos, all these amazing players who grew up. And Nilton Santos was actually part of the 1950 squad, so he did have that devastating defeat, but was also part of the 1958 World Cup win. And as part of that video I sent you, Pele said, in 1950 when they lost the final, his dad was in tears, and he told his dad, like, I'm going to win us a World Cup. So,
well, he won them 3.
he
So he under promised, over delivered.
hey, that's the way to do it. That's my motto. So he literally, like a lot of these players that were growing up, that was a defining moment in Brazilian soccer was that defeat. But it did bring glory in 1958, and then 1962. You have Pele get injured, and Garrincha is known to have carried them essentially for that World Cup. So you have 2 World Cup wins. You have one in Sweden, the next one in Chile in 1962, and then 1966 comes around. Pele is still on top of the world. He's one of the greatest sportsmen in the world. Well, what do people do? They start tackling him as hard as they can. They don't want this guy to do anything, so they injure Pele, uh, and it's the one of the easiest ways to win is go after the guy that's the best and terrorize him. So,
Well, if you go
uh,
back and look at the tackle, I mean, it was like they tackled him once, and then he falls, and then like essentially they kick him while he's on the ground. While he tries to get up, it's like blatant. It's like
yeah, oh, it
boom,
is.
like trying to knock him out.
It's like the Pistons in the '80s. It's like you might not have the most talent, but what you have is like that drive to do whatever it takes to win, and if that means to hurt people, you're gonna do it.
Those were
So
the Pele rules.
they and it worked for them. And so Pele quits. He says, "I'm done. I can't do this. This is bullshit." And so he says he's going to retire from international football. Obviously, he's still playing for Santos, where he has arguably one of the best club careers in existence. Obviously, Messi rivals that, but eventually he's convinced. It's not sure how he got convinced. There's some talk that there was a dictatorship at the time in Brazil, that the dictator was like, hey, he wasn't going to force Pele to play, but he's like, I need you to go and represent Brazil, blah blah blah. So he comes back for 1970, and obviously, what many people consider to be the best team of all time, which I have this sticker. It's the 1970, I believe Panini Calciatore of the Brazilian team, and it's known to be the best team of all time. So, you know, Pele and some others had said that the 1958-1962 squads were amazing individual players who won it, but the 1970 squad was just a group of players that just played so well together that it was just impossible. Like they were just unstoppable. And you have a really famous, one of the most famous World Cup goals, Pele passing it to Carlos Alberto, I believe,
Mhm.
who rips it in off the bounce, and it's
It was essentially a no look pass to Carlos
exactly.
Alberto, where he
He knows he's coming on the run on the
right.
right, and the ball just like perfectly bounces, and he just rips a shot, and it's one of the most famous goals of all time. And I think they won that game like 4-1, and that was the final. And so, you know, Pele ends his career after that for the international team, and Brazil obviously loses. Uh, they had lost Garincha at that point. They lose Pele, and so that kind of enters a new time in Brazilian soccer or Brazilian football, and that's when you get into um, players coming up like Rivellino, um, Zico, Socrates Jr., Falcao, and that is the build up to the 1982 World Cup. And this team is known as the best team to never win a World Cup, and they truly were the embodiment of O Jogo Bonito. If you go, like, when I've watched a lot of clips, full games from that team, just because it's so ridiculous to watch them play. You have this amazing midfield, like I said, Zico, Falcao, Socrates Jr., and it's just like, to me, it's how and why I love to watch Brazilian players is, like, they look so carefree. They look like they're just not even like trying, but they're just like having these incredible cross field passes, incredible passes, ripping the ball from 30 yards out and just top shelving it. And so they go to 1982, and you have, like, yeah, Zico's at the best part of his career, and everyone, literally, this is like 1950 almost, but everyone is like, this is easy mode. This is like, this team is insane. They became just like the Dallas Cowboys are known as like America's team for football. They were just like the world's team for football. Like, a lot of people, a lot of famous players have said, like, that was like, they brought like joy to the game because it was just so free flowing, and like just such a, like, so easy to watch. But they go to the final, and I believe they're playing Italy, and Brazil scores a goal first, uh, and so a lot of people, what they would do is start to defend, but this team was really good at attacking, so they continued to attack, and Italy, took advantage of that and came back, won 2-1, and obviously that was devastating. Um, and that kind of ended what I would consider that area of like Jogo Bonito, for that Zico led team. So that kind of then leads along to 1994,
A change
where
in ideology.
exactly, definitely a change in ideology, kind of a much more complete game, much more like, obviously everyone loves to watch people shoot from 30 yards out and have these ridiculous no look passes and bicycle kicks, but if we want to win some World Cups, we're gonna have to defend. So 1994 comes along, and it's that is instituted the whole idea of, like, we do need to play some defense, but obviously attacking is our forte. So you have Romario in attack, who at the time is just a prolific finisher, like literally one of the best finishers of all time. But you also have some great defenders, um, and you have a lot of other great midfielders as well. And they win the 1994 World Cup in the good old US of A. Um, but that one was a crazy finish. It was 0-0,
Going off to penalties.
penalties, and I think it was Baggio who missed the pen.
Misses, yeah, he misses that last pen.
Baggio, yeah, he misses that, and Brazil wins, and Ronaldo on the bench, um, which is crazy because he was 17 at the time. But that obviously is a huge moment for Brazilian soccer. They're finally back to their glory. Pele's there. They're all celebrating. Now, 1998 rolls around. You have Ronaldo coming and starting every game, but then you have Ronaldo also on the day of the final having, what did he call it? Not a seizure, but like a, I don't even know, but like a
He
sense.
I think in that video he says he was out for like 4 minutes. Like he didn't know what happened to him for like
Yeah,
four
he was
minutes or something.
unconscious.
Yeah.
And so the team sheet comes out and he's not on it, and everyone obviously is freaking out. How is the best player in the world not starting in the World Cup final? And then last minute, he is starting, but like he's not fully there, and they end up losing to France. So obviously very difficult moment, but it was a second place finish. So it's not like they fell from grace and didn't even make it to the final or anything. Like they were still in the final, and so they learn from that. They take that defeat, and then 2002 comes around, and you have just an insane team. I mean, you have Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Ronaldo, a lot of the best attacking players to have ever played, and they easily. I mean, they just win that one in South Korea, and it's a great like that team is really fun to watch. I mean, anything with Ronaldinho is just fun to watch. So, um, that is kind of what I would consider the last great team of Brazil. Obviously, if we skip ahead to 2014, uh, hosted in Brazil, you have Neymar as the wonder kid, the guy who's supposed to bring Brazil back to glory in his home country. You have a lot of really famous defenders: Dani Alves, Marcelo, Thiago Silva, and they lose 7-1. Everyone knows that, and that's the second national tragedy when it comes to football at the international level. So
Well, it's crazy because 2017, I guess, is 3 years, removed from 2014. But that's when I was there in Brazil, and
yeah,
and that year they're still going off with memes in WhatsApp
yes,
where it was like 20, and then it
yeah,
was a Brazil flag, and then the German flag, and
yeah.
I was like, man, that one still hurts. That
Oh,
one still
they
hurts.
still bring it up, man. Like every time it's the date, they'll every time they'll make that joke when it's 7-1. So it's I mean it was like I still remember I'd come back the day before from the World Cup, and I'm sitting with my friends. I mean, it was a bloodbath. Everyone remembers that. Like it was just like that 10-minute period where Thiago Silva and David Luiz just like looked like they had like bricks in their shoes and just. I mean, God, it was painful to watch almost because it was like
You felt
just
for them. You felt bad for
yeah,
them.
like it was ridiculous and like like just I mean that German team was just so damn good and so obviously that was a major setback. 2018, not much better. I mean, obviously they didn't lose 7-1, which is always a good starting point, but you know it's definitely there's going to be a lot of changes for the 2022 World Cup. Obviously they have to qualify still, assuming they qualify. They're I think the only nation that has always qualified for the World Cup. Um, so obviously, I'm expecting them to qualify, but you're gonna have a lot of young talent that's coming in. Um, so it's definitely gonna be a new look, a new team, and people want to bring back that glory. They've won the World Cup 5 times, the most out of any country, and they really want that person, that player who's gonna lead them to that next World Cup.
Well, hopefully Neymar can be that person, but I think they're off to a good start. They won the Copa America in
Hmm.
2019, and they had a pretty good team. They did it in good fashion. They played Peru, which
Yeah.
had a decent squad. What do you think has happened? Why have they struggled so much over the past? I mean, since 2002, they haven't gotten the trophy. So
I just haven't seen a Brazil team that's been, like when I was talking about the 1982 team, like a team that's been playing together so well. Like I feel like I've watched a lot of individual performances, Neymar, who I really like as a player, but a lot of players trying to do things themselves, and it's less of that. Getting back to the roots of Jogo Bonito. And so I don't know. That's kind of what I've seen. And Kaká was a great player. They have had a lot of great players since, but I still think they need um, someone, Pele, Garrincha, Ronaldo, a player like that who's going to like take the reins and kind of carry them through. And as much as I want Neymar to do it in 2022, I'm not sure he can. He's had time to. He's had 2 World Cups. I feel like this is his based on his age should be the one where if he's going to do it, this is the time. So he's I've liked a lot of the performances he's had at PSG. As of recently, though, I don't know. He it's difficult. It really is
Do
difficult.
you believe in this Brazilian squad, the current one? And do you believe in Tite? Do you believe in their current philosophy?
I hmm, so far for the World Cup qualifying, I have liked the way they've played. You know, Casemiro, I think, is probably the best defensive midfielder in the world, which is super super important to a team. I think that's kind of the rock in the team, and it's something Arsenal has missed for a long time. Um, but I think they have a strong squad. I think they have great youngsters who, in Vinicius and Rodrigo, Firmino, players that in the next year, essentially, to get themselves a spot on that roster, which doesn't get confirmed until 2022, but to prove themselves. So I think we're going to learn a lot in the next year. How does Neymar play? Is he going to bring PSG to another final? Does Vinicius continue to start at Real Madrid? Does he lose a spot? Does Rodrigo grab a spot? I mean, it's really going to depend. I mean, they're losing. I'm assuming that Dani Alves and Marcelo at that point are not going to be playing.
Put him on the
Um,
bench, man. Put him on the
yeah,
bench.
of course you need some leaders, but
Yeah.
it's just it's really going to depend in the next year. How a lot of these young Brazilians actually begin to perform. They have to be consistent, but like I mentioned in the first podcast we had, which is you have to be able to play for that month the best way you can. So, it's always hard to predict. At the moment, I don't think Brazil is the best in the world in terms of the squad. Belgium, I think, is a more complete squad.
But they struggled recently. Belgium has.
They have, and they always do. Like they have these amazing teams, and they struggle. And it's like I don't get it. Like you have on paper, and obviously on paper is a lot different in practice. But like their team is just so good, like De Bruyne and all that. But
And correct me if I'm wrong, but they're the ones that took Brazil out in the 2018.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, and they took out the U.S. in 2014.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Chris
Tim Howard
Wondolowski.
though, man.
Tim Howard was a beast, but Chris Wondolowski missed a fucking sitter. But much different team now for the USA, so not as concerned. But I don't know. It's so difficult. Like it's really going to depend on a lot of these youngsters and their ability to start performing, and it's just going to come down to in 2022 for that month that they're in Qatar. Like, which now that I think about it, I guess that does kind of change the whole thing since it's going to be a Winter World Cup. They're going to have
Well,
more
winter.
winter winter for us Americans, but like they're going to have more time to kind of like because as of now, like when sometimes Vinicius gets chosen to go on these World Cup qualifying games, and then Rodrigo gets chosen instead. So like we're going to kind of find out over that time who is going to actually start. And like you have Gabriel Jesus from uh, Man City, who I think I have his rookie sticker.
Nice.
PSA 9, although probably shouldn't be, but um, he's obviously a great young player and had some injury issues, but I think he's
Richarlison,
great.
who's my boy.
Richarlison is a great player. I'd be interested to see, how he progresses, in the
Mhm.
next year. So there's a lot of great players out there, and it's just I don't know. It's just we're gonna see a lot in the next year and how those players come about. So it'll be interesting to see.
Is that it for Brazil history?
That's it. And part two. A lot of people have always wanted to know how I get my stuff from Brazil, but that'll have to come in part two.
Yeah, I
So
mean, Matt, we can't give it all away in the first two episodes.
I know,
How
I
are we gonna
know,
get to 99 to our 99th podcast if we can't if
I
we say
know.
it on the first two podcasts, two
I'm gonna have
episodes?
to I'm gonna have to cut it off there. I don't want to give out too much, so I know people are gonna be excited to hear about that. And we're gonna talk about our teams,
Yeah, our
our
starting
Brazil
11.
teams, our
Well, I think
starting
we talked.
11.
Thankfully for me, we've kind of talked about some of the younger players coming up now for my starting 11. But you'll do an all-time starting 11. So
I think people are gonna
yeah.
be interested because yeah, so I'm doing a 2011 that is players that are at least retired and their first season was before 2000, and you're doing current players slash
Prospects, players coming
prospects.
up.
And I know I told you something yesterday that you piqued your interest. What was that?
It was that you don't have Ronaldo, phenomenal Ronaldo, Nazario Ronaldo in your starting 11.
So people are gonna have to tune in to
That's
to part
interesting,
two
man.
to see. I'm not gonna spoil it yet because one, I want people to be angry at me at the next episode. So I'll wait for that to happen. But I guarantee the squad that I put out will be a good one, and then we're gonna decide out of the two squads that we provided whose would win. So
Probably, I would say the retired squad because we haven't. I mean, Brazil hasn't won anything in the
hey,
past 18 years.
we can always argue. So we'll
We
figure it
can.
out.
But before we end, I do want to first thank everybody that listened. We had, I think, more than we expected for this first
Yeah.
podcast. So thank you so much for all the support in the Discord, on the gram, everywhere we've posted this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your questions. If you have any comments or questions for our second parter to this episode, we're hopefully going to publish this soon, as soon as possible. You'll have a little bit of time to listen and then ask us any questions on anything we said in this episode.
Hmm.
And I'm really looking forward to the second part, man.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm really gonna go in depth in some of the ways I research, the ways I pick stuff up, and a lot of the stickers I do have, and it's gonna be a lot about the stuff that I preach about in the Discord. And people always want to know what the deal is. So
Yeah, man.
come back for the next part, and you'll be able to find out. So
So if you want to listen to all of Matt's secrets and how he obtains his 50 Ronaldinho rookies,
I wish,
which he's
I
famous
wish.
for now. Now, if you want to know how we do our research and how Matt obtains some of his rare stickers, please tune into the second part of this podcast, which will essentially be our third episode. And you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple. You can find
Yep.
us on the link that we shared through our different platforms. And we are recording our ugly faces right now
Yes.
so that you can
I feel
also.
so bad. People have to look.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna put like a little design on the bottom so if they want to stare at like the audio waves or something.
Good call.
But we are recording ourselves not so that you can see our beautiful faces, but rather so that when we show cards, when we show anything that we're specifically talking about, you can see. And like today, Matt showed some of his stickers. You can see some of mine up here, but I'll have some handy for this second part because we did mention the 1970 team, which I have one that I really like. I have the 1964 Pele rookie, Panini
Oh, no.
rookie. No, I'm just kidding. It's the 1964 Pele, but stuff that we're proud, stuff that about, and stuff that we would like to show you. So that's why we're recording it like this, and also to post on YouTube so that you can also see the podcast slash video cast, I guess now on there as well. But thank you so much. We've gone over time again, but
Every time.
I think it's good information for people to have. But thank you for if you've stuck with us for the past hour and almost 30 minutes. Thank you so much. I
Okay.
hope you enjoyed it. Matt, thank you for your time as always. Love
It's been
doing these
fun.
shows.
Yep.
And I'll be back. We'll be back for the second part / third episode pretty soon.
And one last addition to that is, some people have reached out about doing some joint podcasts. So look out in the future for that. Definitely going to have either people on our show or going on to some other shows to just discuss, what's going on. So just keep an eye out. There's going to be some new stuff coming out soon. So it's very exciting.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Thank y'all. As Brazilians will say, até mais.
Até logo.
Até logo.